Yo, Apex Bobby here, and today we're going to be talking about Cowboys and Chicago Bears predictions. Let's get started. So, in the midst of all this coronavirus situation, it's always good to be safe, but we also want to watch stuff that we used to watch, right? So, American football is by far one of the best things. At least before this whole COVID situation, was a very good stress reliever. Finish school or at school, you watch the highlights, or you saw the games late at night when you're taking a break. One of the best feelings in my undergrad career. But, we'll see what happens. Hopefully everyone stays safe. That's the main thing. So let's talk about the predictions, right? So Cowboys and Chicago. I'll be calling it Chicago or the Bears. Well, one of those two, so just as heads up. So both teams were 8-8. Both had pretty big chips on their shoulder. Chicago Bears' coach won, previous year's Coach of the Year. And Cowboys with Amari Cooper and all this hype and, Jerry Jones and his whole thing. Like, they thought Cowboys were going to make it more. But both teams 8-8. In my opinion, KDR-wise, that's a 1. That's not bad. But compare that to, the Chiefs and the Saints and the Titans. This last Super Bowl had some big powerhouses, including the Titans, which, they got a little bit of a vegan diet in there. So that's pretty respect, too. But, let's talk about what's going on with the Cowboys, what's going on with Chicago. So, I'm going to just do this by quarterback, for sure, the running back, wide receivers, safety, some defense stuff, and their schedule, okay? Quarterback-wise, Cowboys love their Dak Prescott. Even though he be on the mattress commercials, Dak Prescott is a 1, I don't want to say he's a high price, but honestly, he's a high price. Be asking for $35 million plus. I don't even know. It's crazy. Quarterback for Chicago. We got a new dude too, but pretty much Trubisky versus Foles. I'm like, bro, Trubisky, you've been in the game for a couple of years now. I think you became on the team, I want to say in 2017. I could be wrong. You can fact check me on that. But, bro, you in the same category as Lamar Jackson and Patrick Mahomes, and you still ain't capitalizing? I'm like, bro, just take a seat, watch your senpai in some way of Nick Foles, which won the Super Bowl against the Patriots, actually, a couple of years back before this one, before the whole Chiefs versus 49ers game. So that's pretty interesting. Running backs. Ezekiel Elliott, man, that dude, I'm not sure what kind of crazy stuff he went through in his past, but man, he's a good running back. He reminds me of Matt Forte. If you remember Matt Forte, that dude, he's a good guy. But running back wise, Cowboys are some strong lead. But for Chicago, it seems that Cohen and Montgomery, they're just pinballing. They don't have that force like Matt Forte has, and I guess they're not as aggressive as Ezekiel Elliott in the way that they make plays. So that's something to note about, right? So let's talk about them wide receivers, right? Amari Cooper. Man, I honestly thought that thing would have backfired against Cowboys because it was such a late thing a couple of years ago, and he's doing pretty good. Glop, he's doing pretty good also. I do feel bad about Randall Cobb. He's gone now. I hate, I can say this. I don't like the Packers. I don't like them. They're a good team, but I don't like them. So when Randall Cobb became on the Cowboys, I was like, hey, one for the homies. That's what's up. But now he's going on the Houston Texans, and I'm like, he's still Texas boy, but not the same. Not too sure. I used to really admire the old wide receivers like Miles Austin and Bailey and stuff. Now that Jason Witten's gone too, that might affect stuff in the defense department too. So wide receivers for Chicago, not as strong, man. We had some good wide receivers, man. Honestly, when we had Alshon Jeffrey, man, those were the good days. Now Robinson, he seems aight. Nothing too strong in the wide receiver department, which is gonna be awful because if we can't make with the pinballs of Cohen and Montgomery, we have to throw the ball. And besides Robinson being a somewhat decent dude, we don't have as strong wide receivers. We don't have Amari Cooper that can go deep. Reminds me of Amari Cooper is very similar to Dez Bryant in some way. They can both go for the ball and they're hungry for getting those deep passes. Chicago don't got that. We don't have as much strong players as much anymore, in my opinion, in the safety, or not in the safety, in the wide receiver department. So yeah, let's talk about safeties in general. Safety is pretty good. Clinton Dix and some other players on Cowboys are pretty good. We got, you know, I don't know, our safety department, it's pretty strong. It's not the best, but it's like not the worst, you know. But I'm very interested on what's going to happen with Jason Spriggs. He used to be on Packers, now he's on Chicago. So I'm noticing that pretty fairly that Cowboys are very strong. Ooh, the sun's setting a little bit. The Cowboys are pretty strong in the offense department, that's for sure. Defense. So yeah, the thing about defense, right, is Chicago was actually known for their defense, like even back in the 80s and all that. But you know, we don't got the whole homeboy Walter Payton anymore, so like our offense is still really lacking. But yeah, defense-wise, man, everyone be macking on Khalil Mack. They're like, oh, we like the Big Mac, we like Khalil Mack, he good. And then Hakeem is also pretty strong. Defense-wise, Cowboys they hustle. They actually do a pretty decent job. But the thing is that when they fight powerhouses like Packers, our arch rivals, also Cowboys hate Packers because of the whole Des Bryant cast, right? Which I think they finally ruled that, yeah, Des Bryant catched it, but like, bro, it's been like 3+ years now. But yeah, so we both don't like Packers, but the Packers offense, it'll shake people up. I'm very surprised at how we Chicago Bears beat Cowboys last season. That was very interesting, back on December 3rd-ish time. But yeah, it's going to be a fight to a fit on defense. They probably have a lot of endurance and stamina, but Chicago Bears, we can really rip the ball out. Like, our claws be some strong stuff. So that's something I found similarities between both teams. Now, if you look at the roster, right, Cowboys roster, no offense, y'all have it easy. Like, okay, you fight the Rams. Okay, that's a somewhat mean team that you fought in the past, so you know, old burns in the first week. And then you got some other teams that have glory, but they sort of lost it. Like, no offense to the Eagles, they're pretty much not as good as they used to be. Steelers, oh man, Steelers, I feel bad for them a little bit sometimes. And Vikings, they're coming up. Besides that, and the Ravens and Seahawks, like, y'all's conference or your division really is weak, man, especially with the confused Washington football. Like, bro, like, that's a dumb name in the first place. And then Giants, which I consider a sleeper. I'm not really too sure. Like, when Chicago starts our season, second week of game is going to be with Giants. So we'll see. If we lose against the Giants with Jason Garrett, which I consider the Sith Lord, he is angry. Like, he's like, y'all kicked me out of Cowboys, now I'm gonna go to the Giants and I'm gonna make a lot of money, and I have my homeboy Jason Witten with me too, so we're gonna go. So like, you might be pretty pissed off. So that kind of thing might happen to Cowboys, so you gotta watch out for that. Don't underestimate Jason Garrett. He was on your coach for a good amount of time, but you know, you gotta watch out for that. So yeah, y'all have it pretty easy. Like, okay, you fight the 49ers, like, no big, like, they're a decent team. But yeah, man, like, Chicago's, man, I don't know why we have such difficult schedules. It's not nice. It's like, why can't we just verse the Bengals and the Browns for like 5 weeks straight? Honestly, no offense to those teams. I'm just saying as an analogy. So yeah, we got the Bucks. With Tom Brady in there, that's gonna be some tough. Like, even we lost to the Bucks a couple of times, so that's even under Jay Cutler, maybe sometimes. Or maybe it was Trubisky, becoming Trubisky, you know. Then we got Panthers. So Panthers are going to be interesting because they got no Cam Newton anymore. Cam Newton is on the Patriots, which I'm surprised we're not versing the Patriots this time. Or Cowboys are not versing Patriots, which is very unique. I always thought that's America's game, something. So yeah, Rams, Week 7, Saints. Oh man, Saints are, whoo boy. Like, I really thought Saints were going to make it to Super Bowl. And then Packers near Thanksgiving time. Thanksgiving time always sucks, man. It's like, I don't, like, of course, you know, Cowboys be versus Redskins or football, so that's always a tradition. But, man, it's always so much tension, man, when Cowboys be versus Redskins and then Chicago Bears versus Packers. It's like, oh, man, it's like, it makes me a little bit not enjoy, like, it makes me enjoy Thanksgiving a little bit more, but also doesn't enjoy it because, like, if my team loses or if Cowboys loses, like, Cowboys, like, they usually win it out, but like, man, so much tension for us Chicago Bears fans sometimes. And yeah, no Jets. I really wanted to verse the Jets because like old wounds for the Cowboys on that. No offense. So yeah, this is pretty much it. Both teams 8-8 from last season. So final prediction to end it all is Cowboys. You got some strong players. Now it's mostly about not playing catch up because y'all's problem, at least for the team, is very much like the Seahawks. You're a very strong team. You got some good players. But you play too much catch-up. You lose the 3 points here and there, the occasional touchdown, maybe you throw a random interception. Because of that, your score is usually going to be like 21-15, something weird like that. And then half the time you're doing catch-up, and then at the end you have like maybe 3 minutes in the fourth quarter, you're throwing Hail Marys. It's not good. So yeah, final record for Cowboys, I believe, is just going to be a humble 10-6. Nothing too crazy. Win a good amount of games. You're also going to lose maybe a few of these occasional games like Vikings maybe or Rams or something. So that's a humble 10-6. From an 8-8 to a 10-6, I think that's a very humble progression up. Of course, we'll see when the time comes if Cowboys make it to, the higher tiers to go to Super Bowl and see if they verse the teams because y'all's schedule is not as difficult. You're not versing the Saints. You're not versing like these Chiefs or the Patriots. These teams are powerhouses nowadays. And you got Ravens, so that could be a test. But yeah, final score for Cowboys, 10-6. Now for Chicago, man, that boy. I'm just saying that you had a humble 8-8, and previously I think you were relatively close to the 10+ mark. So I think with the whole controversy going on with the Nick Foles versus Trubisky and the lack of actual offensive pressure, like defense-wise, you can be set. Like honestly, especially like because Khalil Mack, he be trucking people, but I think that for Chicago, our record might actually go down a little bit. I think we're actually going to be 7-9. Of course, not as big of a jump as other teams down or up, but I don't think we're going to be 0-16. Like, nah, we're gonna beat, at least I want to hope, beat the Colts. If we can't beat the Colts, man, come on. Like, what do we be doing? What do we be doing? I'm not too sure if Matthew Stafford is going to come back for the Lions because he's also a pretty tricky character. But who knows, man? Lions has been going on decline recently. I don't want Matthew Stafford to be like Andrew Luck of the Colts and just be like, hey, man, y'all team, you're holding me back. I'm going to bounce. So we'll see. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I hope you enjoyed this commentary video. I found this was a little bit more engaging to me, but it could be more boring, so let me know on that. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Hopefully the football season comes back and everyone just enjoys that, and social distance in the stadiums. I'm not really too sure what's gonna happen. 2020 has been a weird year, but hopefully that normalcy of football comes in, right? So yeah, that's pretty much it, guys and ladies too. Apex out.